That is the conclusion of the 2021 TCU Horned Frogs football season. Clearly, I don't look excited. There's nothing much to get excited on this Friday night. We're going to get into a little bit more about why it's not that exciting. But as always, welcome to the Purple Rain Podcast, guys. I am Michael Terrazas, joined by me as always, Adrianna Arojo. Adrianna, how was Thanksgiving? Let's start things off on a good note before we tumble and horribly fall down.
Yes, it was good. I had a good time. Food always hits. We're more of like a brisket kind of family on Thanksgiving. We had turkey and ham too, but I don't know why. We just like usually do barbecue. So that was good. But I know we talked about mac and cheese earlier. That was good as always. Shout out my brother. He made it. So yeah, it was good Thanksgiving. No complaints. It was really nice. What about you?
Does your brother make the mac and cheese with butter?
That's a good question. I don't.
What?
I couldn't tell. I don't.
That's a who is it? Alejandro?
Antonio.
Okay, because I don't know him yet. I haven't met him yet, but man, I remember butter is a good thing. This isn't going to be a whole Michael and Adriana's cooking podcast. This is still the TCU cooking podcast, but that was just a random question. Thanksgiving for me, mac and cheese hit as always. There was butter in it, so that kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but it was good all the way. I was kind of a zombie through the whole thing because I was tired as heck, but I got through it. So happy Thanksgiving again to the TCU Horned Frog family. We definitely, we got to get into some things, okay, to start this game off. Now, the Thanksgiving for me was good because my whole family is Cowboy fans, and I'm the lone outsider Colts fan, and I was able to laugh all last night. It was so funny to me, especially with my Theo boy. Lord have mercy. But we can talk about all that another time. But getting into TCU Horned Frogs fall to the Iowa State Cyclones, 14-48. It was an embarrassment. I can't even lie. A very, very disappointing way to go out in 2021. They barely squeaked by Kansas. Lord, I was hoping we didn't lose to Kansas, and we did not. Griffin Kell came in clutch, but unfortunately, Adrianna, I mean, where do you even start with this game? Every problem that was our problem in 2021 all came together in one. Blocking was an issue. Injuries was an issue. Zach Evans, Chandler Morris, Quentin Johnston all didn't play. Basically, your big three on offense. So I'll start off with you, Adrianna. What did you see in this game? Where did it go wrong first?
Yeah, honestly, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not completely too upset with this loss just because I think Iowa State is a really good team. This is, it was their senior night. This is probably one of their best senior classes ever. Brock Purdy, he's veteran. He's been there for a while and he's done really well. Breece Hall obviously just ran all over us. It was his 24th straight game with a rushing touchdown, which set a new record. He played amazing. I think for us, the biggest issues were we had a lot of liabilities on defense all over the field. There wasn't necessarily like one area. So that was probably like the biggest issue. And there's just, we're outmatched. Iowa State has a really good team. And then offensively for TCU, Max Duggan is still playing with, I think a broken bone in his fifth metatarsal, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely an issue. And then we couldn't really get any offensive production. I think we went for it on fourth down maybe 3 times, and all 3 times we didn't get it. The first one seemed a little ridiculous to me just because we sent it straight up the middle. And I think at that point of the game, it was still in the first quarter, and I understand going for it, but I think at that point is you finally get your offense going, you get them all the way down the field. At that point, I understand you're down so many points, but I think you do just need to get some points on the board and get some positive momentum for your team and come away with a field goal, because then, you get it's turnover on downs. and then you have nothing to show for everything you just did. 0 points. And it's difficult because I appreciate being aggressive on offense, and I like when coaches are going for it and like, hey, we have nothing to lose. Like, let's try to win this game, go for it on 4th down. But I think too, you also have to do it within the momentum of the game and understand where your players are at and factor that into the game as well. And I just don't think we did that tonight. So that was really frustrating for me. And then just not a lot of adjustments down the stretch either. I think a lot of times we made mistakes early at the beginning of the game. And as we went along, we kind of just kept doing the same thing over and over. It was basically the definition of insanity. We were just trying to, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And obviously nothing changed. And but it's difficult too because other things factored into this, like we talked about, injuries and just like personnel. But I think it's a difficult way to end the season, but at the same time, it's maybe not as bad as it seems, just because give a little credit to Iowa State. I think they were a very motivated team at home. This is like a very good core group of seniors that have been together for a long time that, wanted to go out in a good way. But yeah, definitely not the ending TCU was hoping for. I was very frustrated for sure.
Yeah, I think you put it in good words. The offensive struggles for TCU, they don't surprise me too much, man. We have too many injuries going on that side of the ball. Credit to you. That I don't even know what you said about which bone it was. That was very scientific, good anatomy on your part. I don't even know what you just said, but it sounded smart to me, so I'll leave it at that.
Hopefully it was right.
Right. The offensive line has been an issue when they've gone up against some good fronts. They have held their ground some against some inferior talent, but when you go up against the Oklahoma States, when you go up against, dare I even say, the SMUs, the Texas, when you go up against Iowa State, who does have a good front, a strong 3-3-5 defensive alignment. I mean, there have been problems. Obina Ease, I definitely think he's got a good future in the NFL. Not sure if it's going to be anything more than a backup, but I thought he was our best lineman this year easily. But the problems, again, not enough blocking up front. Max Duggan playing hurt. I can't really fault his play. He's playing hurt. I don't know the pain that he's going through every step that he takes. Some passes, again, were missed calculations, missed reads, missed progressions. Everything was off. Again, the injuries, but the defense was probably the worst defense that I've watched as a TCU fan. Considering how much talent they have, should not have been performing like the 2015 defense did. That was pathetic. There was no pass rush, missed tackles all over the place. I don't know what type of tackling drills we're doing in practice, but clearly it's probably chasing a fly and trying to just do whoever touches the fly. I don't even know. Pathetic performance. The technique is not even there. The focus isn't even there. I mean, I hate to call out like college amateur athletes. I even hate to do that. But an embarrassing season considering how much talent this team has. Noah Daniels was up and down because of injury. He couldn't sustain a consistent playing time. Hodges Tomlinson kind of let us know of truly who he is, who is a good corner, but he's not going to be that locked down play after play corner. I still think he's a good corner. Maybe being in the slot is his future in the NFL. D. Winters, definitely hope for a better season from him. O'Shawn Mathis, a little bit stiff, even though he is a mountain of a man. I mean, I think looks like he has 0% body fat. The dude is just ripped, but a little bit stiffness, not too much bend, not too much athleticism, digging into my draft scouting bag a little bit. I haven't liked what I've seen. Defensively, it was just a nightmare tonight, and it's been a nightmare all year. So going forward, it'll be an interesting offseason to see what happens with the recruits. We'll get into that here in a little bit. The transfer portal, what's going to happen there. But guys, this has been a tough 2021 season, a year that we all thought would be a contending year for TCU within the Big 12. And like, to Adrianna's credit, Iowa State, I mean, they were what? I think they had a 13% chance to win the Big 12 coming into this year. And considering the fact that Oklahoma had about an 80% chance, actually says a lot about Iowa State, who they are, in the program that Matt Campbell has built. So, Adrianna, I really don't have anything left. It was a bad season, 5-7. It was bad. Injuries all over the place. The way Gary Patterson's tenure ended. I definitely wish it was a better 2021. But any other closing remarks on the 2021 season?
Probably just like on the bright side is like there's some good building blocks from this, I guess. We got to see Chandler Morris and see what he could do, so that's positive. We got to see I think we already knew the resilience of Max Duggan, but we got to see that demonstrated again. And just see kind of the effort put forth, like this team put forth, despite all of the like adversity that happened, and the Baylor win. Not to dwell on like one of the main bright spots, but I think just seeing everything that happened and everything that this team's gone through, they still still had some nice things happen throughout the season. But yeah, definitely not the way we wanted to end. But I think going forward, there's some good takeaways here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you say building blocks, definitely it's going to hinge on a couple players where they decide to go, whether go to the NFL, stay, see what's going to happen. Me personally, I anticipate O'Shawn Mathis D winners going to the NFL. A new regime, a new defensive staff, a new coach coming in. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm not entirely sure if that's a good foundation for your senior year to try and build up your draft stock. I think those two, as much as I wouldn't like, I'm happy that they will take that jump. But in terms of for TCU's defensive sake, I would like to see them stay a little bit more. But a new regime coming in, who is the defensive staff going to be? Who is going to stay on staff from this current staff? There's a lot to discuss. But like you said, Zach Evans, Kendre Miller, Quentin Johnston, Chandler Morris, who I hope is the starter moving forward, and Max Duggan, of course. So other than that, guys, again, these are college amateur athletes. They are still growing up as men. I definitely liked that they continue to fight. They continue to show that they are together. That's one of the main things that you want to see from college athletes, whether if it's men or women. No matter how good, no matter how good or bad the season is going, stick together, keep fighting, go out there. Don't just put on the jersey. Go out there and fight for your program. So other than that, guys, we got breaking news tonight. Not on the Purple Rain podcast, but it was reported earlier tonight from Jeremy Clark of 24/7 Sports. Sonny Dykes is officially going to be, well, officially, unofficially, however you want to say it, will be the next head coach of TCU. This is stuff that's been rumored. I know we've had Jeff Mitchell on the show. Adrianna and I have also talked about that potential hiring and other candidates as well. And before we jump into Sonny Dykes, many people are probably wondering what happened to Billy Napier, what happened to Matt Campbell, so forth and so on. Billy Napier and TCU were in conversations, but the Florida job opening up kind of lured him away. He didn't anticipate the Florida job opening up. Billy Napier is now going to Florida. He's going to Florida. It's already done. They should announce that. What was it? Probably a week and a half, sometime between now and a week and a half from now, they'll announce Billy Napier as their next head coach. SEC job, he's always wanted that. TCU would have been a better job over Louisiana, but Florida opening up market, recruiting grounds, all that stuff, SEC school. He's going to Florida. Matt Campbell, he was denied by TCU. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But Sonny Dykes, Adrianna, let's talk about it, please, because you and I have voiced our opinions over the last couple of weeks about this particular coach, and dare I say, it is now looking sunny in Fort Worth.
Yeah, this is difficult. Honestly, when I first saw this, I wasn't completely surprised just because it seemed like this was the most likely outcome, even though I really wanted Billy Napier. And I think I was pretty disappointed when I saw it just because we did talk about some of the drawbacks of him, just like the thriving off the transfer portal, and that option will definitely still be there, but it won't be there in the same way as far as conference. It's difficult because I've been trying to think of things in a positive way. But I think ultimately, like the big question, like what matters is, will he be able to get the team to buy into like what he's saying and what he's talking about? I think ultimately, like that's what's important. And if he can do that, then I think he'll be successful. And I mean, the principles and practices, like if they work, then he will be successful because they're proven and they'll translate over. I know there's been a lot of talk about the difference in conferences and switching to the Big 12 and how that transition will go. And like I said, I think if he really does have those things set for him, those principles, those practices, that mindset, and can get the team rallied around that, it will transfer over because it's not like it's completely different. The workings of a team are exactly the same. It's just the level of competition is just higher in the Big 12. But I think it will be difficult and it's definitely going to be an uphill battle. It should be interesting to watch, but I definitely am pretty disappointed and just wish we went another way, especially hearing that Matt Campbell reached out. And I know previously I've said that I wasn't as high on Matt Campbell, but that was more like, I feel like a personal thing. It's like, I kind of just want him to stay at Iowa State because I like what he's done there. But I don't know. I'm mixed on this, I think. But then at the same time, he has a winning record against TCU since he's been at SMU, I believe. So respect. I don't really know, but I'm definitely disappointed, and I wish we went another way. But on the bright side, the staff, I know we'll get into this later, but the staff that I'm hearing he's going to bring over, there's a few people I'm pretty excited about. So
yeah, hashtag respect, guys. Okay. Okay, so I want to get into the good and the bad with this. I want to start off with the good because I'm about to go off in the bad. The good. Okay, moving on to the bad. Okay, no, like seriously. The good. Okay. He does have an offensive background. He has proven that he can develop some offensive talent. I know a lot of people, the biggest coup de grace in his career is coaching Jared Goff, who went on to be the #1 overall pick in the 2016 NFL draft and is now probably the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. That is a credit to him. Jared Goff was a good quarterback. Going into a bad situation has made him look worse than what he actually is, in my opinion. So that's credit to Sonny. His best season, in my opinion, well, at the Power 5 level, being at California for 4 years, his best year came 8-5. 8-5. Won a MAC championship. Hasn't really done much outside of that. Had one good season for Group of 5, came to SMU, and for the Group of 5, again, has had a good start. But I think there's been too much evidence of why he's not a good candidate. Too much evidence. Fading away in the second half of the season, that's supposed to be we kick it into full gear now. In the second half of the season, that's when we're chasing championships. That's when we're chasing conference championships. That's when we're chasing greatness. But it seemed that they're just teetering. SMU is on a 3-game losing streak. What's the purpose of that? I've watched all 3 post-game press conferences of Sonny Dykes. He looks lost. He looks confused. Like he doesn't have a single clue of how to fix the team that was once 7-0, now 7-3. Getting your ass handed to you by Cincinnati, I'm not going to blame him for that. Everybody gets their ass handed to them by Cincinnati. Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati. So, and Notre Dame's a good football team. They got NFL talent on that team. Cincinnati, of course, but Sonny Dykes, that's the good. I'll say that's the good. Adrianna, let's get into the bad. I just want to ask you one question. Outside of TCU, all these jobs opening up, who else did you hear that was interested in Sonny Dykes? Crickets.
Yeah. Nobody.
Not even New Mexico State. That's bad.
Yeah.
Everybody's reaching for Matt Campbell. Everyone's reaching for Billy Napier, even though he's all the way down in Louisiana.
Yes.
No one was knocking on Sonny Dykes' door. There's a reason for that. Matt Campbell, Billy Napier, it's almost like they know to go to these Florida, Penn State, Iowa State, those programs that they've been rumored with, they want championships. Sonny Dykes coming to TCU, in my opinion, doesn't do anything for this program. In my opinion, I will gladly be proven wrong on this. But if I had Jeremiah Donati, athletic director, sitting in front of me, I'd have one question for him. Where are your standards? Where are your standards? Because hiring Sonny Dykes proves you don't have any. Now, I'm not going to attack college kids, but a grown man running a program, Jeremiah Donati, I will. Where are your standards? Because, once again, nobody was chasing down Sonny Dykes. Sonny Dykes was chasing you down. And then Florida opened up. Billy Napier said bye. You then chased Sonny Dykes. Because once that job opened up in Florida, everything started moving quickly between TCU and Sonny Dykes. Everything started. That's the bad. Your defensive game plan, what are you going to bring? Or are you just going to give that solely to whoever you give the reins of the defense to? There hasn't been a good track record defensively for you either. There hasn't been a level of winning, a tradition of winning wherever you've gone. No matter what you did at SMU, no matter what you did at Louisiana Tech, you still haven't won consistently. So exactly, Jeremiah Donati, when you have these candidates in front of you, especially a Matt Campbell who doesn't have an agent, he himself reached out to you and you said no because you wanted to go get Sonny Dykes, a guy no one wanted, a guy no one chased after, and a guy no one called, a guy that hasn't won anything in his life. You give him more money than what SMU was willing to give. SMU was about to cough up $4 million. Yeah. It has been reported, there's no specific number, but it's been reported TCU is paying him significantly more.
Yeah.
Remind you, Gary Patterson's salary was $6.8 million. You about to pay that man more than Gary Patterson? Gary Patterson here at $6 million championships. You knew what the standard was. The ceiling was a national championship. Now our ceiling is the Alamo Bowl. I hate this decision all the way around. I hate it all the way around. Adrianna, please, if you do want to kick me off this ledge of where I'm at, please do.
Oh, man. Yeah, this one's hard. I mean, honestly, like, I agree. I saw it, like I said, I was disappointed in seeing his track record at SMU. It's honestly a track record of mediocrity less than, which I, for TCU, have higher hopes. And two, like, going back to Gary Patterson, it's like, I don't know that, like, Gary Patterson's those are big shoes to fill. And Sonny Dykes is the one to, I don't know, that it just doesn't seem to check out for me at all. And especially the salary, and Matt Campbell reaching out, and I don't know, I think it just doesn't sit right, honestly. And it's difficult because I'm I'm definitely upset about it, and it doesn't seem to show as much. But I'm trying so hard to like not be super like emotional and like more objective. But no, I've looked at his records, and I've looked at the like, the wins that he did get, scores, and I don't see how we're gonna, I don't know. I just don't see how it elevates us as a program, especially following a coach like Gary Patterson. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that going into it, Jeremiah Denati, like he told us the criteria that he was looking for, and which I appreciate. So I understand that, and I appreciate knowing what he's looking for in a head coach. And I was like, okay, this, gives us a good starting point. All of these things make sense. But I don't think that when you go through this job search, your bare minimum is checks all of these boxes. I think it's like, that's a good starting point, checking all of those boxes. But if you're trying to build a championship level program, the way you're going to do that is by going further than that, and by talking to them more and really like digging deep in the search. And honestly, with the way things went down with Billy Napier, and then all of a sudden all the reports started coming out about SMU, and it was right after the game with Cincinnati, it really just seems like a desperation move, and more of like there's no one else and he's the next one on the list, so let's just throw all the money we can at him to get him because he checks the boxes and he was the next one. And to me, it's just, I feel like, and it's difficult because I don't want to minimize how they went about this decision, but from an outside perspective, it seems like so little thought or care went into this decision. And I know that's so far from the truth, because I know they want to win. I know that's what everyone wants, but from an outside perspective, that's what it seems like. And as a fan and as a student, like that's a terrible feeling, because, you want to get behind a program and support a team that you think that everyone has just as much or more care for, especially people in charge of it. Sorry, I just like went off, but it just really got me. Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm not done going off. I really wanted to get your opinion. See, going from Trent Johnson to Jamie Dixon in basketball, going from Jim Schlossnagel to Kirk Saarloos was a brilliant decision by Jeremiah Denati. This, going from Gary Patterson to Sonny Dykes, is like going from Starbucks coffee to hotel coffee. This is like going, how do I even put this? This was too safe. Jeremiah Denati played this too safe. This signing is about as dry as Lincoln Riley's brisket. That's about how bad it is. This is just, it's dry, no juices, no seasoning, nothing. Also, I really got to get away from TCU and talk about where he's currently at. I have a huge problem with this. Now, college football, when money gets involved, it can get shady. It can get backstabbing. It can get all kinds of ways when money gets involved. But this is a guy that has gone to these kids' high school games, went into their homes, sat down at the dinner table and talked with his parents about where he's going to lead his child, what he's going to do for their career in the future. All of that. And this has been in the works for the last week. He has been creating his staff for TCU in the last week. When he's supposed to be gearing up for Tulsa, he's getting his staff together at TCU. When he's in the locker room preaching about loyalty, respect, honor, love, he's getting his staff ready for TCU. When he's on the phone, getting into an interview, reaching out to TCU, asking for more money, wanting to leave, you're still going to practice and telling these kids how loyal, honor, and respect still matter. That's not going to work. That's not going to fly. What is going on between TCU and SMU is absolutely ugly right now. It is ugly. And I'm not saying that because SMU fans are going crazy over this. No. I have a huge problem with that. And it reminds me of when Tom Herman left Houston almost 10 minutes after their bowl game to go sign the contract with Texas. That's what it reminds me of. I'm going to preach all this stuff to you, but at the end of the day, screw y'all. I'm going to leave you and go get more money. That's what it seems like to me. I hated what Tom Herman did to the kids at Houston, and I'm hating what Sonny Dykes is doing. I don't care for SMU, but those are still teenagers, guys who put their career in his hands to make something of their career. Now he's leaving for the bigger check. So again, Sonny Dykes, where's the standards? Where are they at? I think I'm done going off now, but getting into the better, here's why I think this signing could potentially work out. And it has nothing to do with Sonny Dykes, by the way. Getting into his staff that is coming over. Now we're actually going to get into a little bit of upbeat, okay? Play some jazz music, some disco music, because we're about to get happy here, okay? Rashad Samples, possibly their best assistant on that staff. It is being reported that he's probably about 90%. Well, I'm not saying specifically 90%. That's my saying, but it is being reported he's following Sonny Dykes to TCU. It's not fully confirmed yet. I know there was some conversations he was trying to get in on the head coaching job at SMU, but I believe athletic director Hart does not want to go in that direction because I think he fears he's too young, which is BS to me completely. But Lincoln Riley was too young to take over Oklahoma, but he ended up winning all these championships, going to the playoff. Rashad Samples is coming to TCU. That's already almost done. The money isn't figured out yet. That's not even none of my business. I don't need to count another man's pockets. But this is probably a bigger deal than Sonny Dykes coming to TCU. I can't even get over. I don't even know what the price is for Sonny Dykes, but I still can't get over it because I know it's BS. I already know it is. But hey, take care of your family. You good? Live in a big house. You're good. I enjoy that part. I actually want to say this before moving on to Rashad Samples. Regardless of everything I've said about Sonny Dykes, he is still a great leader of men. He still respects men. Players love him. Adrianna, you and I have had conversations off the record about players liking him. Yes. He is still a good man. I do want to put that out there. I don't want to, convey you into hating him. No, he is still a good man. He still can lead. He's a good leader. I want to put that out there. Now, getting back into Rashad Samples, he is an elite recruiter. He is an elite recruiter. Not only that, but I think it's almost critical that he stays, not just because of recruits he can get, but to make sure Zach Evans and Kendre Miller stay at TCU because he is the running backs coach as well as assistant head coach. So him coming to TCU is huge. 3 4-stars have already decommitted from SMU. I'm not going to put their name out there because they're still in high school, like 16, 17-year-old kids. I'm not going to put it out there, but they have decommitted because of Rashad Samples. 4-star. We're talking 4-star guys. There is a kid who just decommitted from Texas in the middle of their damn game, by the way, who actually has a strong relationship with Samples as well. And I would probably put my crystal ball, 24/7 Sports, by the way, I would probably put my crystal ball in for him to go to TCU, in my opinion. He's a wide receiver. That's all I'm going to say. This is big. The offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley, the brother of Lincoln Riley, head coach at Oklahoma, I am pretty sure he's going to be following Sonny Dykes as well in his role that he is in now, offensive coordinator. So on that front, I like it. Adrianna, where are you at? And, your reaction, your feel for Samples and Riley?
I would say Samples was probably like the biggest get for me. Seeing some of the TCU recruits decommit is definitely hard to see, but understandable. I mean, a lot of them are like, we don't know where this is going right now. And so Samples, he has a lot of Texas ties. I believe he played at Houston went to high school in Dallas, I think Skyline Dallas, I believe. And I think his dad was his high school coach. And so he has a lot of Texas ties. And I think that's very important because recruiting in Texas is so important. And there are so many elite players within Texas. So that's very important. And then, like you said, developing some of the TCU players that we already have and ensuring that they stay around is also important. I think I also saw SMU's strength and conditioning coach is also coming, I believe. But I would say Sample is probably the biggest get for me. I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter. I saw him. I was like, I follow him on Twitter, and I was on Twitter, and I saw him like something about TCU, and I was like, I don't know if I saw that right. And so then, like later, when I saw the official thing about Sonny Dykes coming, I went back to his Twitter and I was scrolling through and I couldn't find it, and I was like, oh, it went away. It was unliked. But I did see something about him. I think it was something about welcoming him to like TCU or something like that. But it's definitely an exciting time, and I think seeing what ground that he's able to recover with recruiting will be very interesting to see, and just the effect that he's already had with the rumors of him leaving SMU has been huge. So it just goes to show how much pull that he has. And I haven't seen much about Riley, honestly, so I don't have a lot on him, honestly.
I actually have it pulled up right here. It was just tweeted about 30 minutes ago. Well, I already, said it on the show, but I actually just came across this tweet. Chris Hummer, SMU OC, Garrett Riley is likely to join Sonny Dykes at TCU as OC per sources. Jeremy Clark previously reported current Mustang assistant Rashad Samples, running backs coach David Grew, wide receivers Chidora, Uza, Dribble, the defensive line coach that I mentioned earlier, and the strength and conditioning coach that you mentioned, and a pretty big activist in BLM. Big congrats to him. Kaz Kazdi are heading to Fort Worth. So it's a pretty big and good crop of assistants that he's bringing with him.
Yes, and I think Kaz Kazdi might have been with the Cowboys for a little bit.
I think so.
Definitely have to double check on that, but I think he was with them for a little while. So it's definitely an exciting time and should be interesting. I think it's very easy to be down on like the Sonny Dykes hiring, but at the same time, kind of like we mentioned earlier, Donati's done a good job with baseball and basketball hirings in the past. So, I mean, he's definitely got some good decisions as of right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he definitely, he has his reasons, and I'm sure hopefully we'll see why he went this way and it'll work out. So definitely hopeful. But yeah, right now I think it's a little difficult to see, but the staff wise, it looks good too.
Staff wise, I love it over the actual signing. I really do. Yeah. Now don't get me wrong. Now that he is my freaking head coach, I have to root for him. I have to pull for him. I hope whatever he went through at Cal, the shortcomings in the second half of the season at SMU, hopefully he's learned something and he's going to put that together at TCU. Now, again, I was actually we already knew of this. I texted you earlier in the week and told you Sonny's coming. I got that confirmation already ahead. It was just a matter of it being reported. And I was not feeling the greatest about it. And I kept telling myself, man, Rashad Samples better be coming, because he is not only, looked at by SMU fans as who should be their next head coach, which is not going to be, that's going to be the Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator Lashley. Samples has been targeted by USC. He's been targeted by Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M to be an assistant coach and recruiter for him. He's been targeted by Penn State. He's been targeted by Texas. I know that. He's been targeted by Baylor. So the fact that these big programs, blue blood programs, by the way, Texas A&M, USC, are targeting him, shows that he is actually a pretty notable coach. obviously. I mean, he was getting head coach consideration from other programs. So the fact that he's coming makes me so much more happier about this signing. Honestly, Garrett Riley bringing the offensive staff. I really do hope Jeremy Modkins stays at TCU. I really do. I love the work he's done with the corners. I really do. Him and Paul Gonzalez. Paul Gonzalez recently moved over to safeties, but Jeremy Modkins, Jeff Gladney, hate how that ended up for him, but Jeff Gladney, Jason Verrett. I mean, you got there's been a couple more. Noah Daniels, Travis Hodges, Tomlinson. You've had some good corners coming out of TCU. I want to see him stay because I really don't have a lot of faith in the defensive staff he'll probably bring over. So other than that, we've talked about, even before the hiring, we talked about what coach could come in and provide something for recruiting. So getting into some recruiting, TCU has taken a huge hit in the recruiting phase. And I do have all of it pulled up right now. I keep it separate, in my own notes. TCU has, since Gary Patterson resigned, has lost about 6 commitments. I believe 2 from 4-star recruit. No, 3 4-star recruits, 3 3-star recruits. That is big. 4-star wide receiver DJ Allen, 4-star wide receiver Matthew Golden, 4-star corner Jalen Gilbo, who just yesterday flipped to Texas. Again, I don't know why people want to go to Texas, but God bless him. Huh?
Oh, I said crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, you're not happy about that. But again, God bless him. I think he is going to be one of the better corners in college. He's going to be wearing burnt orange, unfortunately. So we know he won't be playing in a bowl game in his career. So sorry, Adrianna. I just had to throw that out there. But definitely shout out to him. But
like I said, this is 1 year, 4 bowl games in 4 years before that, including a Sugar Bowl. So.
Oh, okay. You just had to roll your eyes when you said that, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, and the neck crook and everything. Got to throw in the neck crook and everything. But the 4 current commits that TCU does have: 3-star defensive tackle Joseph Adair. I can actually confidently say he stuck to TCU. I think he's happy with where they are now, with Rashad Samples coming, Sonny Dykes coming. I think he'll stay with TCU. 3-star running back Major Everhart, probably the fastest player in freaking Texas right now. 5'9", 170 pounds, running back. Probably they might look to get him in different other ways on the offense. He's still committed. AJ Allen, 3-star running back, and Tavita Noai, 3-star tight end. And here's the bad thing. TCU ranks 10th out of the Big 12. They also rank 101 in the entire country. That marks for worst in the Power 5. Not Group of 5, Power 5. Clearly, I think that's probably going to start changing now that Rashad Samples, Garrett Riley, and these coaches are now coming. Now that actually, because this is something that recruits have talked about TCU, kind of off the record and on the record. The fact that TCU doesn't have a direction or a captain driving the ship right now, it's kind of hard to stay committed to TCU without knowing what's going on. They need to get with their families, decide what the next decision is for them. But now that there is a decision made, a great recruiter in Rashad Samples, a good recruiter in Sonny Dykes, an offensive background coming, we might get some of those guys that decommitted from SMU, noting 3 of them 4-star prospects, another one a 4-star 2023 prospect. So that's interesting to note. Again, I really hate what the heck I'm looking at. 101, 10th out of the bit. We're worse than Kansas. Jesus. Adrianna, let's get into some recruiting. First off, how depressed are you that the Frogs are where they are? But looking at where they can be going forward, of course, the early signing period is December 15th for guys that are ready to early enroll, of course, get ready for spring ball. Where are you at with the recruiting where TCU is?
Yeah, it's hard, but I think right now I'm it's difficult because I understand where they're coming from, and this is a hard decision, and it's very impactful. And I get it. You need to know, who's in charge and where you're going. On the bright side, though, that the guys that are staying committed to TCU are fully invested in the program itself, and they feel comfortable enough to stay. So that's always a good thing to know that you have people that are coming to TCU that really want to be there and will stick with us no matter what. But I think, again, this is just a thing that you have to give time to because, we still have a lot of ways to go as far as like recruitment decisions and oh man, people decommit and unofficial, official, all these things.
Right.
So there's a lot that can change, and I think hopefully, cross my fingers, but hopefully that ranking will change very quickly once a lot of this stuff is officially announced and people know kind of what direction TCU is going in, and once we can get people in there and kind of start working to make up ground or potentially re-get some of the guys that we already had. So I think it's definitely hard right now, but I think I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, I think it'll get better, especially with samples. And I have a pretty strong belief in that. So I'm pretty good with it, but yeah, it's not great to see though, for sure. Whenever you look at that chart, you see how far down we are. It's definitely painful for sure.
Yeah. Getting into recruiting and also the transfer portal, something Jeremiah Donati said he wants a guy that can navigate that. And Sonny Dykes has done a good job navigating that transfer portal. If he can sit down in the offseason, figure out where the struggles were on offense, taking injuries out, of course, then that'll be incredibly hard. But seeing what the problem was, I would actually be interested to see where he's looking at in the transfer portal on offensive linemen, honestly, because we got Obina Ease out of Memphis, who hit the transfer portal last year, came to TCU. We basically swapped offensive linemen. Kelton Hollins went to Memphis. We got Obina Ease. Pretty good trade-off. Shout out Kelton Hollins, man. He's having a good year for Memphis. I'd be interested in that. That offensive line and corner, honestly, with Noah Daniels about to head out. You don't know where Keon Stewart, Nuke Bradford are going to be. Travis Hodges-Tomlinson, you don't know where he's going to be. But in terms of where the team is now, and we've mentioned this talent now on the team, Zach Evans, Kendre Miller, Quentin Johnston, Chandler Morris, Sonny Dykes has played with good quarterback play. Hell, you know him. Shane Buechele played great for SMU. Tanner Mordecai, a guy that I actually like, man. He's a cool dude. Played for Waco Midway for the Panthers. Absolutely kicked our ass in high school. But Travis Hodges-Tomlinson, a former Waco Midway Panther too. Tanner Mordecai has basically balled this season. He's top 5 in the country in touchdown passes. So that's great for Chandler Morris, obviously. I'm interested to see where they are. I would like to see them get their hands on this offense, but considering that the expectation is for Oklahoma and Texas to leave the Big 12 this offseason, they're going to buy out their contracts, pay the Big 12 a lot of money, and head to the SEC. Depends on, what is it going to look like? Is BYU, since they're independent, are they going to go ahead and head over? UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, I think they'll wait until the 2024 season to go ahead and come over to the Big 12. But I really want to see what this team is going to be. It's a long road. One thing I am excited for is access now. Gary Patterson's biggest pet peeve was not much access to the players, the coaches. We all know that the Big 12 signed a huge ESPN deal for access, and he still didn't let his spring games be televised. But gotta love Gary, man. But now with Sonny, access to coordinators, access to players, hopefully the spring games will be getting televised, because I always had a weird thing for Gary Patterson's, no, I don't want to televise what our team is looking like. I don't want to give a team an upper hand. I really didn't understand that, but we know who Gary Patterson is. He stood by his word. He stuck to his guns, and he went for it. So there's a new era of TCU football upon us. Before we get out of here, Adrianna, moving forward, talking about ceilings and floors. I kind of mentioned it. I gave a spoiler earlier in the show, but I definitely want to test where your head is right now, where the courage of your conviction is right now. Let's start with floors. Where do you think the floor for Sonny Dykes and TCU moving forward is?
Oh man.
Oh, I'm so eager to hear this.
That's hot. Oh gosh. I don't know. This is hard. I don't know, because I think I struggle between either being extremely optimistic or extremely pessimistic, and there's not a big in between area.
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle between, I obviously want TCU to do well, but then I'm trying to be realistic at the same time with a first year coaching staff and, some seniors on their way out. And we've had the same coach for 20 years. That's a big transition as well. Oh gosh. I don't know. I would say, oh, shoot. I don't know. I say we don't end up in the, I don't know.
This is really hard, guys. If y'all are seeing her on YouTube, if y'all are listening on podcast, get to YouTube, because Adrianna is going through it right now. She is her head is about to explode thinking about
it. I really am. Like I said, there's no in between for me, so I'm just trying to find a good point that would be both optimistic and realistic, and I just cannot find one right now. I don't know. Michael, maybe you should go first.
Okay, I'll take the reins on this then. Guys, this is hilarious right now. She is thinking very, very, very hard about this. The floor for this program, in my opinion, as much as I've kind of, harped on Sonny Dykes, why I don't think it's a good idea, I don't think the floor is 2-10, 3-9 or anything. I think the absolute floor could be 4-8, 5-7. 4-8 is what I give this floor. Not being ranked at all, of course that goes into it. I'm very, also another thing is I'm interested to see who TCU will schedule in the future. For future opponents, of course. Golly, man. Next year, Sonny Dykes returns to SMU. That's gonna be a massacre. That's gonna be a massacre of SMU fans on that staff. That's that should be. They should get College Game Day out there, because that's going to be juicy. Hey, more drama in college football. That's what we need. But oh man, 4-8. That's where I see the floor for this program. That's where I see it, honestly. Other than that, depending on, like I was saying, depending on who we schedule, I know next year I think we're supposed to play Colorado, is it? I know we're playing Tarleton State, the Tarleton State Texans. We're playing SMU as well. I think somewhere down the line we're playing Nichols. Stanford, North Carolina, they signed a home and home deal. They'll make up their game against Purdue that they couldn't make in 2020 because of the COVID outbreak, and they only had to play conference schedules, so they'll make that up. But I'm very interested to see who they schedule in. I'm not the biggest on opening week 1 or 2 against a small school like we're going to next year, week 2 against next year we're playing California, the first game of the year, I believe. But this next year, playing Tarleton State, we don't do anything. Beating Tarleton State does nothing for us. So let's stop that game and go schedule Michigan State Let's go schedule Ole Miss. Let's go. Man, I'd love to play Ole Miss again. Let's go schedule Florida or something. I'm very curious to see that as well. But that is definitely where I think the floor is for this program. So during that, little 3-4 minute break that you had, Adrianna, were you able to come to a floor conclusion?
I would say like 6-6, honestly. I would say like just a little better.
Oh, okay. So
I'm leaning on the optimistic side of this, honestly.
Okay.
I'm leaning optimistic with this one.
The floor is 6-6, so I gotta hear what the ceiling of this team is right now. Adrianna, again, once again, you kind of did it to yourself. The floor is 6-6. What on earth is the ceiling?
Oh shoot. Ceiling, I would say, is like, okay, that's the thing. So I put the floor high, but I think the window is like small. So then I would say like the ceiling is like 8-4. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So we have like a small little.
Any Big 12 contention?
Okay. If Texas and OU leave, yes. If not, then no. And I'm not talking about Texas, I'm talking about OU.
Right, because we know Texas isn't going to compete. So as long as OU is out of the picture, maybe someone can compete other than Oklahoma. Wow.
They're a package deal, so.
Okay, okay, all right. You know what? You got me. You got me. I like the floor only because the ceiling is realistic. So I do like where we are offensively. The potential for the recruits we can bring in, offensive recruits rather. I got to tell you, man, that decommitment from Jalen Gilbo still burns my heart. The ceiling for this team, you know what? I actually might do you one better on the ceiling. Ooh. I do think Oklahoma leaving, don't really care about Texas. Who is going to take over this conference, really? Especially when Houston gets here, Dana Holgorsen returning to the Big 12, Luke Fickell bringing Cincinnati, who looks primed and ready to go to the playoff this year, coming to the Big 12, BYU coming to the Big 12, UCF, a respectable program all around, coming to the Big 12. If this was a basketball conversation, it'd be a lot probably more negative, but since we're talking football, I would say appearance in the Big 12 championship game is the ceiling. That's what I would say. You know what, actually, Big 12 championship is the ceiling, only because I don't know what the Big 12 is going to look like without Oklahoma. That's the thing. I'll say that because of the offensive firepower I think can be at TCU.
So is that only without Oklahoma, or is that like with or without Oklahoma? Like that.
That's without Oklahoma. Oh God.
Oh, okay.
That's without Oklahoma.
Okay. I was like, Michael just really.
Oh man, you thought I was doing drugs, right?
I was like, he went all the way with the ceiling.
Right. After a whole show of bashing this hiring, I went all the way with the ceiling. Yeah. That would make sense. No, of course, the talent Cincinnati has right now, guaranteed first round draft pick in Ahmad Gardner, Kobe Bryant alongside on the corner position, Ajuri, Ritter, that's not going to be there next year. So what is their talent going to be moving forward? BYU, we just don't know yet. Again, as fast as the SEC news about Oklahoma and Texas came out, can be just as fast as Cincinnati coming to the Big 12 next year. Now, from everything I've heard so far, the expectation is for them to come over in like 2023, maybe 2024, when that new Big 12 ESPN deal renews. So other than that, I think we've covered, I think this was a pretty good show, Adrianna. Definitely had some looks. You in this eye rolling.
Yeah, it's a genetic thing. It's really bad.
Genetic thing.
Anyone that knows me or like, yeah, it's bad.
Right.
I do it like on Like I just do it without even noticing. And like a lot of times people will be like, you rolled your eyes. But like, no, I didn't. And you're like, yes, you did. Like I just saw you.
Right.
It's out of control.
You've done it a few times and I just haven't called it out yet. You've done it a few times. Okay. So other than that, guys, this will do it for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast, guys. Once again, thank you for listening. We will have Jamie Plunkett from Frogs Award coming over and being a guest of ours next week. Which day? We're aiming for Monday. Hopefully, show will publish on Tuesday. But other than that, guys, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please hit a review, subscribe, whatever the case may be, wherever you're listening on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, guys. She is Adrianna Rojo. I am Michael Terrazas. Once again, a new era of TCU football is upon us. I am very eager to learn more updates about what's going to come here in the next coming days. But once again, look out for our content and follow us on Twitter, of course, at Purple Rain _podcast, guys. Once again, she is Adrianna, eye-rolling Adrianna Rojo. I am Michael Terrazas. This has been another episode. We will see you next week.